Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We are back.
Hello.
Hello. So, I had something come up when we were doing the first recording. I had something come up of it's along the lines of being a fixer, but it was a different energy to it. And I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm still not like thinking about it all the time, but still contemplating the difference. It is a different, it's like a subtle energy difference, but the only thing I can keep coming back to is it's still the same. Um, so being a fixer, right? We want to fix everything so everybody's okay and the waters are calm and I feel better because you feel better and all the things, right? Recently, what came up for me was being the hero. And it was like, I want to take the burden off of somebody so they don't feel as heavy. I'm just trying to articulate this out loud. Um, so they don't feel so scrambled and trying to figure things out. And I have information and knowledge where I could figure it out probably a little quicker, but then that's adding more stuff to my plate where now I have to choose, do I take care of this or do I let somebody else take care of it, or they're going to figure it out the way it's going to figure out and I get to still do the things that are been pending waiting for me to take care of, right? So it's like being the hero, what does that mean? Is it like a look at me, I did this and I saved the day, and like I just think about a hero, right? They just stand up proud and tall and smile and feel good about it. Whereas so maybe this is the process. The fixer is fixing things, but it's like a heavier emotion as they're moving through it. I didn't feel the heavy emotion like burden. Like I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, one more thing I got to take care of. It was, oh, I could do this, right? And look at me and all that. So I'm still in the process of it. Right now, this conversation is just trying to define the differences between the hero and the fixer. But I recognized it when I recognized the word hero. I got a pen and paper and start writing it out. And I'm like, I do not have to be the hero. This is not my responsibility. This is going to work out the way it needs to work out. And I don't have to be the one to do it. Like I had to reel myself in and write it out and be like, I don't have to take care of everything. It's not mine.
Yeah, but when you're describing this, it's almost as if the superhero cape says fixer on it.
Right.
And it's
But
like
it's
that's not
not
any
a
of those things. And then your response, the way you just answered everything, was almost like your higher self saying, "No, you don't need to do anything," because that's how it feels when we're having this conversation. You don't need to do anything, but which wasn't the conversation. It was just noticing between the hero. Because I think we all should stand. We should all be so confident and so proud and hold ourselves in such a way as a superhero would, but not to the point of being the hero, the addiction, right? Being addicted to saving people. Because that's, I don't know, there's such a fine line between that.
it
Because
is,
for
right?
me, there was the fixer and then part of the hero. And then there was part of the addiction for me, like even with massage, because I know that I could help somebody. I knew I could fix it. That's exactly how it felt. I'm the superhero. I can do this. I can do anything. Even if that wasn't what somebody was asking, but I knew that I could because they would say something. Oh no, I've been dealing with that for years. Don't even worry about it until the pain's gone, right? But it's like that's a that's a that's a different space to be in, really.
So the one thing that stands out, and I said it just a second ago, is that so the fixer, the way I think about a fixer is uncomfortably going out of their way. So if you came to me and said, "Hey, I can't pay my electric bill and can I borrow some money?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, right?" And then you come back to me in a next month, you know what? I can't pay my electric bill. Can I borrow some money? Well, you haven't paid me for the first time, but now I'm like, well, I don't want her to suffer. I want her to be comfortable in her house. I know electricity is super important. So sure, here's, and then you come back to me a third time, and now I'm starting to feel like, what the hell? Why aren't you paying your bills? And why haven't you paid me back? Like there's resentment and then anger that starts to build. But with the hero, it's like, all right, I did this and this felt good. And I feel proud because I was able to do it. That's the only difference that I can sense in this sensation of the difference between a hero and a fixer.
And I think that just depends on how you define it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So each person is going to walk through this a little bit differently because we all have different perspectives of our processes that, different growth, different childhoods, all these different things. So we see things a little bit differently. So it's fascinating.
But it's interesting, right? Because before
Yeah.
it would just been the only thing I would have ever thought was fixer, 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 fixer. But I
And
was
but
like,
to me, I feel like the fixer could be the superhero too, because it just depends on like the defining factor would be where are you coming from when you're doing the fixing? Because even if that person came back 3 times, if you're coming from a space, no matter. But we do a disservice, right, for that person because the person's got it. Just like we are talking about this other person, they've got to walk their own path. Just like with my grandkids or my daughter, or my granddaughter, in the last one, I want my I don't want them hurting. So I'll tell them I'm sorry. I'm sorry you're hurting because I would rather than they not be hurting. But it's out of my control. It's not. This is not for me to fix anymore. So like, there's so much stuff that's going on. So much. A superhero to me could be the person that's no, I can't do it, but all of a sudden her bill's paid. She doesn't have to know it was anonymous. That's a superhero. So it's like God, we could go a million different directions with that, really.
yeah, but it's an interesting thought though, because this is new to me too. That's why I'm bringing it up. I'm like, all right, well, what's what's really the difference? And it all just to me, it just keeps coming back to how it feels, the energy of it.
Yeah.
And of course, I yeah, being a fixer had a whole different connotation to it as far as my history and how that was programmed into me. And it was actually, being a fixer is more along the lines to me as I look back is an obligation. If you think about culture, and I'm like the Hispanic culture, they are very family oriented and you take care of your family no matter what. And that's like huge fixer. I've been coaching a girl who is Hispanic, and she has struggles with money like nobody's business because it's in their culture. If you have money, it's not your money, it's everybody's money. And everybody gets to use that money, even though you're the one that worked for it. So to me, that's like, that's much heavier energy around fixer than around hero. Hero feels lighter, and a sense of pride and a sense of joy, but it's still you're right, it's still like a fine line up between the two depending on
Because
how
it can
you're
go either way
perceiving.
really easily. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, that's one of the main things I've processed since we've last met. And again, took a pen and paper and just wrote it out, and like, this is not my job, this is not my place, this is not my responsibility. And that was the big word, was responsibility. This is not my responsibility to swoop in and do all of this stuff and then suffer on the other side with everything that's already sitting there for me to do. So
Yeah.
I had to talk myself down on that one.
Makes sense. Just to kind of stay out of that space. And then my mind wants to say, let's not even have the labels. Go back to the whole thing of where's your focus coming through when we're doing any of these things, because our intuition is going to guide us 100% exactly what needs to be done in any moment. We just need to listen to it without our old patterns leading the show.
Yeah. Interesting, right? It's
It is. It is. Life is interesting. You know, it's if we were talking recently, this whole process of putting stuff on the TikTok, I've had to look back at videos and I'm like, what in the hell was I even saying? Or like not completing. So I'm working on this and refining my voice. But I've also recognized I've had a blockage in my throat for such a long time that this is part of the process of how it's coming through. So I'm just allowing the process. But throughout all this process, I totally like, since April, I've second guessed everything about myself, which is good. It's not a bad place to be in. It doesn't feel good because it feels like nothing is familiar, nothing is right, because everything has changed. Everything has changed. And it's like channeling. I went back and saw some of those videos that I was putting on, and I was talking about channeling or something like that. I paid attention to my energy in these videos too, because some of them was like, oh, that was great. I'd be sitting watching us, and I'd be laughing because of what we were saying, because it was just, it felt good. The energy felt good.
yeah.
And then there was other ones that were I was so rigid that I didn't even know that I was that rigid. And how would I know until I got to this point where I'm not as rigid as I was then?
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of growth to happen, but it's like I recognize the videos that popped up for me to listen to were messages for me from us, which was freaking phenomenal. And it started talking about the channeling again. And I realized how I would sit down with us and have these conversations. I'd be like, okay, creator, speak through me. You know what we need to hear, or what whoever needs to hear while they're listening to it. And I haven't been doing that since April, since all this stuff. And maybe it was a little bit before that. So I've kind of found, and then we can go back to this conversation you're talking about, being the hero or fixer. It's not related, but it's the same thing as far as one thing having one meaning or having another meaning. It's like, why am I doing it? What am I doing it for? Why am I being drawn to this? So it's like, so that my ego is not running this show, because I don't want my ego running the show. I love all parts of me, but my ego has limitations, and I have access to limitless information, just like we all do. And until I put my focus into that space again, I didn't recognize it was there, which is, I found interesting. It was always there. I just closed the door on it because if none of this other stuff mattered, how could any of this fit into this space? And it goes back to me not, how many times I probably find some videos if I wanted to, of us having conversations and you talking about doing this growth work and me like, no, you don't have to go digging this stuff. Well, you don't have to go digging it, but I was trying to just do one thing. I just was focused on the spirituality, but I wasn't focused on having balance with all these emotions and all this stuff, going back to our last video, that's been compartmentalized, put in boxes, shoved aside, that I didn't even know was there until it starts coming up. And the only way that I've been able to even facilitate that is by walking around and talking to myself. Oh, that's interesting. Why are you having that? Why are you having an attitude about this right now? Or why are you having an emotional attachment? Or what's this about? What does it matter what he's doing right now? What does it matter that she's doing right now? And then it's like I go through this process, and so there's so much growth that's happening that I don't know why I wandered off onto that, but I don't know. It's just been curious, this healing and how the healing's shown up in so many different ways. It's not one way or another. It's a million different ways. So I've enjoyed it. So back to the whole TikTok thing. So sharing all that information, I was like, holy crap. I liked it better when I felt like I was connected, and I can feel the difference by looking back at the videos that we've had. I could feel the difference. I could feel how some felt great and some just didn't feel so good. So we do more of what feels good.
That's right. And keeping in mind that every time we sit and record, it's where we're at that time.
Yeah.
So at that time, it made sense. At that time, that's what you could understand. That's what you could process. That's what you could relate to. And now, months later, weeks later, years later, you look at a video and you're like, what in the world was I thinking? Because who you were then isn't who you are now, because you've done
Yeah.
so much growth in between. So when you're looking back at those videos, it's just like, you know what? I see you and I honor you for where you were at that time.
Yeah.
And that's what worked at that time. And now
Yeah.
here we are. So
Yeah.
now we talk about now and what we're going through now. It's like this hero fixer thing just came up like 2 weeks ago. I would not have been able to even think about processing that a year ago, probably. Like spirit gives us what we can handle at the time. That's my belief. And spirit's like, okay, now you know what a fixer's like. And now you're stepping into this whole nother role that feels a little different, but it's still the same. So let's recognize that so we can grow through that. And what I, as you were talking, it's so funny. As you were talking, I was like, hero, uh, what's been going on lately? Well, I've since I in the position I'm at, I've gotten a lot of kudos over the past year for what I've brought to the table at my job. And it's almost on a weekly basis. I'm not kidding you. On a weekly basis, people are like, "Oh my gosh, you've done so much. Thank you so much." You, and it's just all these kudos all the time. So then, as you were talking, you said ego, and I was like, "Oh, look at that! My ego is getting all fluffy because I'm a hero. I'm fun. Look
Yeah.
at me, right?" So now it's like, okay, let's recognize that and let's be able to hone in on the energy, but let's just, you don't need the kudos from other people to feel good about yourself.
So let's look at this a little bit differently. From my perspective, I say that spirit's training you because you're getting ready to go into another space, another energy, and you are going to get the kudos. And it is for you not to get lost in the ego. And that goes for all of us. It's to not get lost in the ego thing because it is nice. Come on, when we were little kids, it was nice when someone said to us, Amy, you did a great job. Bev, you were great. You guys are so smart. Like, you guys are amazing. I don't know if that ever happened to me, but I can just tell you that's the stuff that feels good because I do it with my kids. But now we're training them to be like excited for this little nugget, this attention. But it's you're in a space now, you're not that child anymore, and you're able to process and understand that you're being guided. This is part of you recognizing this is part of your journey to have an understanding about what it is to like to be a hero versus what it is like to be a hero or a fixer. And then go on to something. Hey, when I got married, they said for richer or for poor, and I said for richer or richer, and I was like, no, I didn't. But so here we are. Anyways, but I feel like you're just being guided. You're being guided, and because we're the people. I'm not saying that nobody else is. I'm saying lots of people are out there like that. We can all get lost, but that's not what we came here for. It wasn't to get lost in that part of the journey, but it is to have an understanding that thank you for appreciating me, but the one that matters the most that appreciates me is me. I've got to appreciate me. Otherwise, I'm becoming addicted to something else, again, outside of me. So that's why it's so important for us to pay attention. And then we show up from the space of love because we're not being controlled by this. Because then you go home at the end of let's say that you're on the stage and you've had a big day and you go home and it's like, gosh, nobody's told me thank you today, or nobody said anything, or then it ruins your day, or it could. It doesn't have to, but sometimes it feels like that. I mean, I've walked through those kind of places. I've had some learning from groups, so it's like, yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. I
Thank
see
you.
you,
Thank you.
and you are amazing. But the thing is, someone else could tell you that over and over and over again, and if you don't think it the same, think of it that way about yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about you because you
Right.
don't feel it. You don't allow yourself to receive.
Right. And I have practiced for a very, very, very long time, and I teach others that when somebody gives you a gift, you say thank you. And these people lately who've been keep giving me kudos, I am standing in that when they say something, and I say thank you. I don't go,
Awesome.
oh no, it's not a big deal. Oh, you know what? I do not do that. And as one thing I do recognize about myself, I'm like, well, thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement. Thank you I appreciate that. Like, I mean, I'm genuinely feeling that, like, in my body, that it's okay to receive that gift of a compliment. But when you were talking, what I was like thinking was, so specific, not specifically, but most common for women, full-time job, right? And then over here you have the house. So you're a cleaner, you're a maid, you're a chef, you're a bookkeeper, you're the child care person. Like, you have all these roles and a full-time job, and not getting recognized for any of it. Like, it's the mundane routine thing that you do every single day. You get up and these are your tasks every single day, and nobody says thank you. Nobody says, hey, you're doing a good job. Nobody acknowledges you for all the things that you take on every single day. And we get resentful about that. I will say I did. You again, going back to resentment and anger, because you just have all these responsibilities piled on you, and you seem to be the only responsible person in the household. Well, when somebody is recognizing you for the good things that you're doing, and you're getting those acknowledgments, it is a practice to be able to say thank you and not slough it off, or, oh, you don't have to say that, or anything like that. It feels good. And so I think that too, I'm recognizing that as well, is how is it feeling to receive these compliments, which are gifts, because people want to do things for you that help them feel good, so you feel good. They want you to feel good. And so, and it helps them feel good to help you feel good. And so that's just by saying thank you. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I appreciate your comment. Thank you.
Yeah. And just jump on the feeling, just jump on the appreciation train.
Exactly.
Because then you're both raising the vibrational frequency. And I have for so long, like, negated compliments. I've always found another reason. Oh, well, I'm a bit better. I'm not a lot better. I'm not 100% better. I still catch myself doing it, but I find myself, it'll be nice when I can get to the point where I don't hesitate or I don't think anything at all. And I just say, thank you, but I'm working on it.
Yeah. And it's a work in progress, sister. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that's what's so awesome, because we get to see both of us grow.
Yeah. 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 And if you've been with us for the past 5 years, you've seen all our stages.
Yes, you have.
It's been a lot.
It has been a lot. I'm kind of glad to be where I'm at right now, even though my office is in a disarray, but I'm still like where I'm at right now.
Yeah. 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 This is just a transition phase. It's okay. It's temporary.
It is.
All right, my friends, you got a lot out of this conversation. Are you a fixer or a hero? Are you both? Maybe you want to sit with that and just see how it feels. So, other people probably having these conversations too, are thinking that they would like some guidance. So be sure to share us with your friends, family, coworkers. We're on YouTube, Spreaker, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and Google Podcasts. No, Podcast Addict, not Google Podcast Addict. So just be resourceful. That's all we ask. So share the content. And do you have any other final words?
Be a beer.
Be a beer.
Just be.
Okay. Just be around.
Because we don't have to always be doing.
Yeah.
We can be.
Just be. All right, my friends. Thanks for hanging out with us. Tea Time with Amy and Bev. We'll see you next time.
Bye.